Time to start reassembling the trans. The first step is to put in the counter shaft. Now that involves this cup. This is the front of the case. That involves this cup that was in the front. That was kind of tricky to get pounded out. That has an O-ring on it, and I have a new O-ring. It came with that kit from Liberty Gears, so I'm going to put that O-ring on. I'm going to get the old one off without destroying it. Let's see. Can do that, and I'm going to put some oil in this groove here. Make sure that ring is oiled up good. Just stretch into place. Very easy, especially with the oil. So, some things about this. So this thing on the TKO600 versus a 500, I think, and the 3550s, this cup is flanged from the inside. So you assemble it from the inside and go in that way, and then it has a specific home. You can't go any further. This one, if you remember from earlier videos, is held in by basically this retaining ring here and by the bell housing. So it doesn't really find home until everything's assembled. And since the retaining ring just grabs the corner of it, it's really not until you get the bell housing on is it going to hold it in place. When I took this apart, there was no seal around this. It's just the O-ring seal. So that's how I'm going to put it back in. One other thing to mention on the cup, my cup has this groove on it. That little groove, I think that's like an oil drain groove, that was to the bottom of the case. So when I put this together, it will be to the bottom of the case. And then I'll have to re-clean that now, but this is the bearing race. That will go in this cup also. So I have the shaft in now, and I'm going to have to support it and pull it up so that it's not resting where the cup goes, so I can pound the cup in. I have a lead hammer, which would be good on this aluminum. Something heavy, but it's not going to beat up the aluminum. So I'm going to try to tap this in to get that O-ring in there to seal. So it started, but I can't get it all the way in. There she goes. All right, just sort of popped in. Obviously that's way too far in for where it's supposed to be, because it's supposed to be flush with here. So I'm going to try to push it out a little bit. And do that by pounding on the back of the shaft. There we go. Nice. So that's going to be good enough for now. So it's almost flush. But see, again, that thing floats back and forth. So yeah, that whole putting sealer on that, I don't think that would be a good idea. Put the case up on end. So this is the top or the front of the case with the cup. Here's the back of the counter shaft. I'm just going to put a little oil, just a little bit on the shaft where the bearing goes, and just in the hole where the bearing goes in. And just put the bearing on. It should go in pretty easy. I believe that is as far in as it goes. We'll tap it in and see. Oh, this goes down a little further. Okay. Okay. That shaft should spin nice and free, and it does. I'm going to put the reverse gear cluster in. It goes here, and that is the cluster that we pre-assembled with all the needle bearings. These are those two thrust washers that I talked about. Those go in here. There's like a little notch on them in the back. You can only put them in one way, so they kind of fit. One fits here, and the other will fit up on top of the cluster. So we need to pull the shaft out, and with that assembly lube like glue, hopefully everything will stay together in regards to the needle bearings. That off. And you'll see why we need to do this here in a minute. Pull that shaft out slowly. Alright. So I'm going to put just a little of that assembly lube on this washer. Just to help kind of hold it in place. I threw a flashlight in here to try to brighten this up a little bit. So let's put this cluster back together without the shaft. Again, the pointy teeth on this ring go to the pointy teeth on this portion of the cluster. Okay, so you're going to have this whole thing. It's going to go in, whoops, it's going to go in this direction. Okay, so you got to slide this thing in here. That's all, just slide it in. Okay, I got that thrust washer on the bottom. I'll rotate it into place. Okay, I'm going to put that thrust washer, another one of these things, up on top. I am going to throw, again, just a little bit of assembly lube on this thing. And it goes with in this direction. I can get it in there. There's like a notch, you need to get lined up. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now, the trick is to get the shaft down in here. So here's the shaft. It's got like a anti-rotation pin here. See if I can move this camera up a little bit. Okay, so this is going to drop in through the hole in the back of the case, and if everything's lined up properly, it will go right through the gears. Sure. And it's going to be lined up perfect. Obviously, it's a tight fit. Well, I'm going to mess with this. It's just a matter of getting this gear lined up with the shaft, or shaft with the gear. Okay, it only took me about 30 seconds, just kind of wiggling it around. So it fits through. And then there's a groove. Let's see, I'm stuck on the bottom. Looks like maybe on that thrust washer. Move it around. There we go. Right down. So here's that top of that shaft, here's that pin, and then it fits down into this groove, and everything just sets right down in there. So, I don't know if you can see everything, but yeah, it went together real easy. So that just kind of floats in there until you get the tail housing on, which will hold that in place. So as I was trying to assemble this thing, that cup kept coming out, because there's, again, it's not flanged to hold it in. So I just put this piece of aluminum and screwed it across here to hold it in while I'm assembling it.